Okay, welcome back everybody. We are doing Warhammer. This is the 8 Gods of Chaos by Wes Hammer. Welcome back to Cranky Films.
Wes Hammer.
We're gonna react to this shit today. Anybody else got
say?
Yeah.
No, you got it. Yeah.
Was that not good? I thought that was
It
fine.
was fantastic.
This is his
I thought
first
that was
intro.
fine.
It was really good.
On the show.
It's his first
On the
time,
channel.
guys. I know.
I thought that was fine. Yeah. Quit yanking my pizzle, bro. Let's start the
do
video.
what I want. dog.
Okay.
Alright, first off, there are only 4 gods, Warhammer, so they must,
Yeah, that's what we thought.
they must have added
There's
4
only
more.
four.
Unless
There's
they're
4
demigods.
Chaos
in a way.
gods. And then there's, I think there's 4 for Warhammer Fantasy too, right?
I don't know. As far as we know,
Is this just for 40k or is it for Warhammer Fantasy as well?
The Warhammer
it says
40k
40k
lore.
lore.
Yeah, 40k lore.
Okay, it's probably just 40k.
Warhammer
cool
40K
guy.
has some of the best lore of any modern franchise. The only issue is it can sometimes be a confusing, impenetrable mess. However, it's always remained remarkably clear on at least one thing. There are only 4 Chaos Gods.
Yup.
There's Khorne, the Lord of Blood and
Khorne,
Skulls.
who's your
Nurgle, the
favorite?
God of pestilence and decay.
Nurgle.
Slanesh, the Dark
Yes,
Prince of
Slanesh!
Exile, and Tzeentch, the Architect of Fate. This is one of the first things that 40k fans learn about the franchise, and it's
It
considered
is.
to be
That's
pretty
true.
entry-level
Yeah.
lore. But what if everyone's wrong? What if everything we've been told about the Chaos Gods is a lie, and there's
Okay.
actually a whole
There's
lot
some
more
straight
of
up
them than we
heresy.
originally thought? Now, this theory that there are
All-
more Chaos Gods outside the original 4 is something
Slanesh
that
looks
fans have been
kinda bad.
speculating on forever. But
Slanesh
for
always
many
looks kinda
years,
bad.
all we ever really had to go
Not
off of
always.
was
I've seen
tiny
some wild
isolated
things.
pieces of
Oh,
lore,
God.
That's my
pieces of
demon
a
dick
puzzle
lady
with
right
no
there.
framework to put them together in. So the theory seemed more like wishful thinking than anything else. However, that all started to change a few years back when Games Workshop released a seemingly innocuous book
Burning of
that
all
held within
maps.
its pages a treasure trove of new lore that
Okay.
implied the fans weren't as crazy as some believed, and there very well may be 4 additional Chaos Gods.
Ugh.
But if
4
this is true,
extras?
and there's actually 8 Chaos Gods in total, then why have we
Gross.
never seen any of the other 4? Who are they? Are they characters we've already encountered, or are they newcomers who have yet to make their lore debut? How powerful are they, and what's their role within the Chaos Pantheon? Well, in this video, we're going to be diving into all that.
I mean, it's not far off. I mean, Slanesh was made.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's true.
it's
That's true,
not.
yeah.
It's not that
It's not
far off to
impossible.
be true.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
not impossible, I guess.
I mean, it could be. What if 2 gods made 1?
Sure.
Like,
You mean they fucking?
No, but who
okay,
is?
no, maybe their obsession with each other or their hatred towards each other
There could have, yeah.
or something like that.
And a whole lot more in order to pin down and identify who these other 4 gods are and what their existence means for the future of 40k. A quick disclaimer before we dive in though. You're gonna need your tinfoil hats for this one, as this
Okay, go get it. Let's go.
lore is
Go
still
get the
pretty new, and
tinfoil.
a lot of what we're going to be talking about could reasonably be called a 40k conspiracy theory. I've done a ton of research and I'll be using real lore to back up everything I present in this video, but at the end of the day, you should take it with a reasonable grain of salt.
Okay.
Okay, that being said, my god am I excited to talk about this one.
Salt.
I thought this would be a quick video that would only take me a few days to research and put together, and then I ended up spending like 2 weeks on it. I got sucked down another one of those classic Wes Hammer lore rabbit holes that threw my whole
Love 'em,
schedule
though.
right out the window.
Yeah.
Editors, I am so sorry I am making you cram on this one at the end of the month. I love you. You're the real ones. Please don't leave me. Okay, anyways, with all that out of the
That's
way,
fun.
let's dive headfirst into the grimdark. The theory that there are more than 4 Chaos Gods has always
Ew.
existed.
Here we go.
in some
Here we
form
go.
or
So
another.
cool.
But it
He's
gained
my
a lot more
favorite.
traction in 2023
You like Nurgle?
with the
Yeah.
release of the Burning
Nurgle's
of
cool.
Omnium
He's with us,
supplement.
bro.
This
At
book
least he
introduced
loves
rules for
everything.
using bound demons and
He
games
loves
Thor's
everything.
Heresy Age of Darkness.
His
And the
reasoning's a
rules
little better
themselves
than
were
the
received
rest.
well enough. But what
Oh,
truly
no.
captured the
Slanesh
community's
loves
attention
me.
and why this
think?
book is
I
referenced
think
so
so.
often
Yeah.
was the lore accompanying those rules. Lore that some dismissed as fluffy flavor text,
The eight-theoric
while others took as
dominions.
direct confirmation that there may be more Chaos Gods than the setting traditionally
That's
acknowledges.
crazy.
If you don't play the tabletop game, here's
You
a
into
quick
that?
rundown of how
No.
these books work because it's
not
important to
into goat
understand the
women?
framework here. Whenever
No.
you get a supplement or a codex for your army, you usually get a list of sub-factions in it as well. These add additional special rules that let you flavor your force in such a way that 2 players could be running the same army, but have them
Ooh, that
play and
armor's
feel
fire. I love
completely
that
different.
turquoise blue
For
color.
chaos, especially with demons, these sub-factions traditionally come in the form of the 4 known gods.
Is that a
If you
fucking
pick
model?
Nurgle,
That
you get
Nurgle?
extra
Is that a
toughness
fucking
and harder to
model?
kill,
Mhm.
and if you pick
Holy shit,
Khorne,
can
you
you
get
buy
more
that?
strength and you do a lot
You
more
probably could,
damage.
yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
idea.
That-
Did the
that-
other
This
models
supplement was
for the
different.
fucking
It
Chaos
didn't
Gods?
just have the usual 4.
There-
God damn.
wait,
It
didn't
gave
you
us 8
Didn't you see corn right there? I think that's corn, no?
No, that's not. That's Zinch, surely. Corn's red. That's Nurgle.
In the back.
What about that one?
That might be Corn. That's probably Corn. That's definitely a Cornic demon.
Is that Slanesh right there?
Probably, yeah. Slanesh.
And then
And that's Zinch.
Yep. They're there.
With demons, these sub-factions traditionally come in the form of the
Just
four
5
known
people there, though.
gods. If you pick Nurgle, you get extra toughness and are harder to kill, and if you pick Khorne, you get more strength and do a
Yeah,
lot more damage.
Khorne.
You get the idea. But this
Ugh.
supplement was different. It didn't
Blood
just
for
have
the
usual
Emperor!
four we would expect.
Skulls for
It
the
gave us
Golden
8
Throne!
distinct sub-factions in the form of the etheric domains of chaos. The accompanying lore told us that demons from each of these domains were said to be
Man-face.
similar in appearance and disposition,
Sheesh.
and were all linked to the same inscrutable patron, i.e., each domain has its own god, and their demons are reflections of them, just like what we know to be true about the four main chaos
Sheesh.
gods. These
No.
domains were the
God,
etheric domain
that's
of
what I want,
encroaching
bro.
ruin,
You
of
did?
putrid
I wanna be one of the
corruption,
Emperor's
heedless
children.
slaughter, of rapturous sensation, of formless distortion, of ravenous dissolution, of infernal tempest, and of malevolent artifice. Alongside
So
the
are these,
etheric
like, extra-
domains, we
these
were
supposed to be
provided
extra
with a
chaos
very
gods, these
peculiar
etheric
diagram
domains?
that showed the symbol of chaos, the 8-pointed star, with one of these domains at each of its points, and the primordial annihilator positioned in the
Approaching
center.
ruin.
Now,
Infernal
traditionally speaking,
tempest.
the primordial annihilator is a term used to represent chaos as a unified antagonistic force, so chaos united or chaos undivided. But some fans have gone even further and speculated that this primordial annihilator may eventually manifest as a 9th chaos god, one
Oh,
born
wow.
from the fusion
Alright.
of
Oh,
all
shit,
of
okay.
chaos into a
Jesus.
single supremely powerful entity. And there is some precedence to that, considering that there's the whole prophesized great beast thing from Warhammer Fantasy. Now, I wanted to acknowledge this theory, but for the purposes of this video, I'm mostly going to be
Formless
focused on the 8 domains
dis-
themselves, as the evidence to
distortion.
support the existence of a sentient primordial annihilator is somehow even more sparse, and we're already dipping pretty deep into tinfoil
he
hat
kinda bad,
territory
though.
as it is. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit off topic. Although many people have already speculated on the implications of this book, I feel like a lot of them skimmed over the most important part, the diagram itself, as it contains more information about the mystery gods than all of the rest of the lore in this book combined. It's my belief that the domain's placement in the diagram of the Chaos Star is not random, but intentional and important. We can learn a lot about a god before we even know its name simply by examining its placement, namely which gods stand to their left and right, and which ones are on the opposite side from them. So our first task is to eliminate the 4 domains associated with the
Sheesh.
4 known gods.
God,
using
it's
stars.
crazy.
Generally speaking, the 40k lore community tends to agree on the following pairings. We've got Heedless Slaughter and Khorne, Rapturous Sensation and Slanesh, Infernal Tempest
right.
and Zinch, and Putrid Corruption with Nurgle.
Yup.
These pairings are widely
Yup.
accepted because their thematic
Yup.
descriptions, pictured here on screen, align extremely well. However, there is one complication. The descriptions are vague enough that one could reasonably argue that almost any domain could apply to any of the gods in one way or another. There's a domain of Artifice, for example, which means demon engines, and that's something that all of the gods use. And at least 3 of them
Okay.
refer to change, magic, or fire, so which one is actually Zinch?
Mm.
How do we confirm these pairings are correct? Well, first,
Okay.
we need to understand the relationships between each of the 4 gods and how that applies to the diagram. It's true that all of the Chaos Gods are locked in eternal conflict with one another in what they call the Great Game. But the lore tells us that each one has a sibling that they hate the most and one that they hate the least. It's oversimplifying it, but we can think of them as an allied god and a rival god.
Oh, so they'd be on the
Khorne
opposite
aligns
side.
most closely with Nurgle, while Slanesh aligns most closely with Zinch. Conversely, Zinch and Nurgle are bitter opposites, just as Khorne and Slanesh are directly opposed. With that knowledge in hand, the logic behind how the diagram is arranged becomes a lot more clear, and we can discern 4 main points. Number 1, the domains associated with the 4 major chaos gods are positioned at the intercardinal points, with the mystery gods at the cardinal points. 2, each god sits directly across from the domain of their traditional rival. 3, when the diagram is divided vertically, each god appears on the same side as the deity that they're most closely aligned with. And 4, and this one's a bit of a side note that will come up later in the video, the diagram can also provide us important information when it's divided horizontally as well. This structure lets us confidently approach the remaining 4 domains and their associated gods. As it stands to reason, they follow the same logic. Thus, we can narrow down the list of candidates by establishing 3 criteria that
I
they
can
must
actually be
follow.
demigods.
Number 1, their
Yeah.
nature must align with the description of their assigned etheric domain. Number 2, they must be conceptually opposed to the deity represented by the domain directly across from them on the diagram. And number 3, they should be thematically compatible with the deities beside them, causing the least amount of friction with their adjacent allies and sharing traits reflective of their
Pretty much
placement.
like hybrid
Okay,
gods.
so
of
now that we've
both
got all of the
parents.
boring stuff out
That'd
of
be
the way,
interesting.
we can get into the
Yeah.
real meat and potatoes of this video and speak with confidence about the identity of the 4 mystery gods. And we'll kick things off with the one that's probably the least mysterious and will surprise absolutely no one: Vastor the Archephane and the etheric domain of malevolent artifice. Just as chaos reflects back a twisted mockery of humanity's every facet, so too is the very drive to create perverted into a malevolent and destructive force within the immaterium. Conjured forth into real space, such demonkind harness the works of mortals as a vector for their own annihilation. Their monstrous machine entity forms at once a mimicry of flesh and artifice, every action made to demonstrate their supremacy over both mortal beings and everything they deign to create. If you're unfamiliar with him, Vastor is a greater demon of chaos undivided, but he's routinely referred to in the lore as a demigod due to the influence he wields
Demigod,
and his
yeah.
explicit ambition
Okay.
to eventually become a full-fledged
Demigod.
chaos god. As
Oh.
the demonic patron of engineers, artisans, and scientists, Vastor is empowered by the
can
minds of
become-
the recklessly
yeah,
curious
a fool.
and
So
dangerously
was he
inquiring.
created by
He
another
embodies
chaos?
the mortal desire to analyze and understand
He
natural
said he was a
forces
demon
and
of
then
chaos
bend them,
undivided.
often violently, to their own will. He draws strength from the pursuit of knowledge and technological progress taken to its darkest extremes, innovation stripped of morality, curiosity devoid of consciousness. He possesses near limitless control over machinery and technology, and rules over his own profane warp realm known as the Forge of Souls. The Forge of Souls is a colossal metaphysical foundry of dark iron and choking steam, a hellscape of blasphemous industry where legions of demon engines and other accursed constructs are forged, tested, and sold to the highest bidder. I'll be honest with you, the topic of identifying the 4 mystery chaos gods revolves a certain amount of speculation and theory crafting. But when it comes to this one in particular, we can almost be completely certain it's talking about Vastor. Not only does the description of the artifice domain match his nature perfectly, but the very first thing we learned about
Oh,
him when
that's
he was
cool.
Yeah, it
introduced
does
to the
look kinda
lore
dope.
a few
Okay.
years back was that this
Ooh, I
dude
don't
was
hate it.
actively trying
like
to
the
become
mask.
the next chaos god. What I find even more intriguing is his placement
Yeah, but
between
it's
Tzeentch and
off by
Slaanesh. At first, it struck me as odd, but the deeper I looked into it, the more it started to make perfect sense. Think about it. Vastor is essentially a conceptual midpoint between what both Tzeentch and Slaanesh represent. Slaanesh is the god of artist, excess, and perfection. Their followers are constantly pushing creative expression to new and often horrifying extremes in pursuit of achieving ultimate
right.
perfection.
That's right.
Vastor operates the same way, except his form of artistic pursuit is focused specifically on engineering, invention, and the perfection of machinery. Whereas the followers of the Prince of Excess are more often associated with art, poetry, music, that type of stuff. Vastor's got more warpsmiths than he knows what to do with, and Slaanesh has the noise marines. Tzeentch, on the other hand, is the god of change and ruthless ambition. His followers reject hierarchy and tradition, constantly seeking to improve their lot in life by accumulating ever more power. They believe destiny is not predetermined, and greatness comes to those willing to seize it by any means necessary. And between you and me, I don't think it's possible to be any more ambitious than Vastor. The man is literally declaring his intention to become a god. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, he isn't a literal fusion of Slaanesh and Tzeentch, that's not the implication. But his placement between them, indicating their allyship, fits perfectly with the logic of the diagram and with the thematic overlap he shares with both of them. But Wes, I hear you asking, Vastor isn't a chaos god, he just wants to be one. Doesn't that disqualify him? No, it doesn't. And this is where warp logic tends to trip people up. Time does not exist in the warp. It's a construct of the physical universe. The gods are not bound by linear history the way that mortals are. From the warp's perspective, Slaanesh has both always and never existed simultaneously. Even though
That's
here in
weird.
the physical, we know exactly when they were born
Time
in the
travel
30th
bullshit.
millennium. That's why Slaanesh demons appear in the lore before the fall of the Eldar actually created them. The rule of thumb is simple. If a god will ever exist at any point in creation, then in the warp, they've always existed. With that in
That's
mind,
weird.
the
Oh,
presence
yeah.
of a realm of
Mm,
artifice
yes, I get
strongly
that.
implies that Vastor will ascend eventually, because
So
the
they could
warp is
put
already
stuff in the
treating
warp
him as
that's
if
not
he
actually in the
has.
canon
Whether
yet.
we'll ever see that play out in the
Yeah,
return
we
of
won't
Warhammer
find out
is
until
another
they-
question
That could be a really good
entirely.
way to
The
like
warp is
test,
contradictory,
playtest stuff in the
nonlinear,
tabletop.
and fundamentally insane.
yeah.
Trying to apply real-world logic to it is a direct path to madness, or at least that's what they tell
Man's
us. in
eyes
the
is
lore.
beautiful.
Looks like I'm gonna
We've
get
confirmed the
corrupted.
identity of one of the mystery gods.
Well-
But what about the other three? Well, the best place to look next is straight across the spectrum from Vashtor towards his theoretical rival deity, the patron of formless distortion, an entity that
I know, he looks pretty
believe
formful to
be
me.
the Pater Mutatis, the father of mutation.
Yeah, why bro look like that? I think it's cool that they can like use stuff that technically doesn't exist yet in the warp. Like they can send it back in time or whatever. That could be a really cool way to explore stuff that hasn't happened in 40k yet.
Yeah, because I mean, it's going to. If it's in
Yeah.
the warp,
If it's in
eventually
the warp, it's always
gonna
existed.
manifest.
So stuff that from the future could be in the warp now. You know, now.
Right.
So, if we put an anime figure
Okay.
in the warp,
You're going down
would
that
it
path.
exist?
Certainly, because it's there.
Will it exist and not exist at the same time.
Big anime titties floating through space.
Why did I just imagine just the titties? Jesus Christ. Okay, so for what we learned about this god so far, I mean, it makes sense where he's placed.
Demigod.
Yeah.
A demigod, yeah, but it makes sense where he's placed.
Of course.
Because over ambitious and perfection. Makes sense for a
He's got a
machine.
little bit of traits from.
From both
For both.
Slaanesh and Zinch.
Yeah, but it makes sense for someone that is working on perfecting the machine and having the ambition to create more, to advance more. So I wonder what's their opposite then. Like who would be the opposite?
Somebody who's just all about destruction, maybe.
Destruction.
But that would be.
Destroying things.
We just saw it's gonna be someone
He'd
in
be the
between
middle of
destruction
Corn and
and
Nurgle.
Corn and
Nurgle.
Nurgle, yeah.
Something that's destructive
yeah.
and what's the other word? Not decomposition. What was it?
Essentially.
Essentially. So let's see what that is.
Even as demons manifest
Did you want to add something?
No.
as obscene parodies of mortal forms, the true essence of chaos is endlessly shifting and unknowable, twisting, changing, and perverting everything it touches. Some demons who crossed
Okay.
the veil into real space embodied this ceaseless distortion to its fullest extent, shaping themselves into roiling agglomerations of immaterial flesh and bone, for whom death was simply one component of the eternal metamorphosis they would inflict upon the material world.
Is that an Adeptus
Okay,
Sororitas?
this is probably the god that we're going to spend the most
That was a Sister of Battle in that art. That was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
time
cool.
on because he's easily the most confusing. Naturally, most 40k fans have a lot
Is
of
that
questions.
him? Just the
don't know.
long
No,
hair.
I don't think that's him. I think that's
The
someone
moment
else
that
from the
you tell
lore.
them that good old Fabulous Bill it may have become a chaos.
Fabulous
god. Further
Bill.
complicating things is the fact
No,
that the
I think
Pater
that is him.
Mutatis has
Yeah.
only ever been
Fabius
Bill.
Bile.
Fabius
Abby is Bile?
I thought he said Fabulous Bill.
You did.
Fabulous Bill. It's Fabulous Bill, guys.
Fabius Bile.
Fabius.
Clone Lord.
You know who it reminds me of? The design?
Who?
From, who was the guy from Ben 10?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I know who you're talking about. The crazy fucking mad scientist.
Yeah.
It does all the animal shit, right?
Yeah, basically, I think that's how what it is.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Wild trilogy. And even for readers who have gone through these books, his lore is presented in a way that's scattered, subtle, and kind of difficult to follow. So I'm going to do my best to pull out the relevant information from across the trilogy and
That's
break
scary.
it down.
I
as
think I've heard
simply
about
and
this guy
clearly
before.
as
I think
possible,
he
but fair
cloned
warning, there's
the
gonna be spoilers
Primarch
for
of
this
the Emperor's
trilogy in here.
Children.
If you're
Oh.
unfamiliar with the character, Fabius
That's
Bile
actually
goes by
kinda
many
interesting.
names: the Spider, the Primogenitor, the Clone Lord, and most recently, the Pater Mutatis. Originally the chief apothecary of the Emperor's Children during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy,
So was he part of the children or was he just working like
Part of the children. He was an apothecary. So he was like a medic for the Space Marines.
Oh,
He was like the best medic.
I don't know what happened. Was it when they were
They
Yeah.
probably when they turned to chaos, he went like uber evil.
uber evil?
Started doing diabolical shit.
Crazy stuff to them.
Yeah.
Comically
He has long since
diabolical
abandoned
shit.
his
Oh,
legions
that's his
and
original. Oh yeah, he had everything.
Bro needs to learn how to
pursues
use
his own
makeup.
path. He commands a warband made up of apothecaries from multiple chaos legions, all united under his personal agenda. Bile is a master flesh crafter. He was the one who enhanced his
Flesh
fellow
crafter.
What the
legionnaires
fuck?
during the heresy, and he pushed the art of cloning to heights the Imperium still can't match. This is the man who successfully cloned every single Primarch hundreds, if not thousands of times over.
Cloned all the
Shit.
Primarchs?
So he's the one that did everything. He made everything happen with his genetic.
Bro's like you're cloning Primarchs. What the fuck?
That's great. That was a great loss to Emperor.
Is that just a thing? Are there just fucking clones of Primarchs running around?
Became the
Are they
only
exact
human
clones?
ever permitted to study
Yeah,
flesh
it's a
crafting
clone.
under
Like,
the
are they
Dark
as
Elder
strong?
homunculi in
Holy
the
shit, maybe
depths of the
Vulcan really
Morgue.
does live.
Across his trilogy, we see Bile create all
Wait,
manner of
created that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goat Man, yeah!
clones, genetic abominations,
cool for a
all
minute.
in the pursuit
Oh,
of
that's
Yeah,
cool.
bigger Goat Man!
That's
This
not
major breakthrough comes with the Gland Hounds, superior human beings with no sense of fear, created with a refined version of Space Marine gene seed, lessened in potency to the point where the survival rate of implementation was
That
near
look crazy.
100%.
Man, this is some heretical
These men
bullshit
and
right
women were
here.
described as slabs of chiseled muscle. The human form so
Bro's got a
perfect
metal
that it was
mole.
uncanny and disturbing, i.e., they were too perfect. Finally, Bile would create
Huh.
his magnum
Yeah, more
opus,
Goat
the
Man.
new men, Homo Novus, a successor to the Glandhounds and his intended replacement for humanity. They were stronger, smarter, more
Replacement?
durable, and in his
Bro's
mind,
got an eyeball
less
in his
doomed to
armor. That's
repeat
crazy.
The same mistakes of
He
our
does.
species past. Bile believes that humanity cannot truly be saved. It must be replaced with an improved version built from the same genetic template. His plan is to seed billions of these new men
Sheesh.
on worlds across the Imperium, where they will embed
Oh.
themselves within society, and over the coming millennia, they will continue to reproduce until they eventually outnumber baseline humanity, replacing them in the way that we once replaced the
Those
Sorry,
fucking
Dad.
cavemen?
That leaves the question, what happened to his earlier
More Goat
creations,
Man,
such as
yeah.
the Beastmen and all
Goat
of the
Man
other
go
species?
hard.
Oh, so he created Beastman.
But he created a lot. He's creating a
He
species.
created a whole lot of shit. He
Yeah.
created a whole
He's
lot
trying
of
to
shit.
create a species.
Why do they always go for Goat Man? Why is it always Goat Man?
Goat Man, cool.
Why?
don't know.
When you can make like bears and shit, why is Goat Man? what you go
let's
for?
take a vacation to Beastman land.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like Beastman Land?
They just walk over and headbutt each other.
Apparently.
Oh,
Bro, why don't
God.
we
Beast
crossbreed orcs with
Talk
bears?
about, like,
That'd be
the
crazy.
fact that he's trying to
Bear
replace
orcs.
humanity with a better species. Based off of.
What species would you crossbreed humanity with?
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Gorillas.
Gorillas?
Yeah.
I can live with
Isn't
the
that just
consequences.
more humans? More human.
It's
Humans
stronger.
but more? I'd crossbreed
Oh,
humans
did they
with elephants.
No.
Like
That's
elephant.
terrible.
Big men.
I have not seen a single
meaty
wolf
men.
yet.
Giant
I'm not-
four-legged humans.
With a trunk.
and him
Like
achieving
Smith.
godhood.
That's a
His
bull.
relationship with his children, as he calls them, was complicated.
Oh.
On one hand, they
Mothman.
were failures, simple stepping stones on his journey to
Shout out to
create
Bulls and
Mothman.
goats are
Frodo's
used.
great
On
art.
the other hand, he felt
Or
a
do you think he was a
reluctant,
better dad than the God
unspoken
Emperor?
Paternal attachment to them.
Impossible.
So instead of destroying them, he would
Well,
use them in
there's no
various
better father
ways
figure
until
than
they
the
were no
Emperor.
longer
Well,
used to him.
considering he
After
only
which
really
would
cared
just
about
abandon
one.
them on isolated worlds. Surprisingly, his creations
Sounds like some
never
heresy to
resented
me.
him for this. To them, he was the being who gave them life, their father, a god. Over time,
Holy shit, a
this
bull
became
man.
a primitive mutant religion,
I mean-
venerating Bile as the Pater Mutatis, the father of
You
mutation.
into that, bro? You
a
into the
god
bull
that,
man?
unlike the
Yes.
Okay.
other chaos gods,
Weird flex,
is
but
viewed
okay.
as
You don't get to talk. You don't get to talk.
aloof, one that gives them life and
Yeah,
keeps them
Goat
safe,
Man.
one who ensures that their children will have a chance to grow and their harvest will always be plentiful. These beliefs would spread amongst all of his creations.
Yeah, bulls
from
and
the
goats are
gibbering
more used.
abominations to the beastmen to the glandhounds and even
Yeah.
the Homo novus.
Is that a bear?
despite Bile's insistence
No,
that
that's a
gods
man.
did not
I think that's
exist.
just a big man.
Over time, their societies would grow and spread, their collective faith gradually coalescing in the warp as a budding new chaos deity. Now, there are two details that I didn't pick up on right away that make all of this a lot more interesting. First, when you're reading this trilogy, it feels like it takes place in the current era of 40K. There's nothing really to say that it isn't. But then it's revealed in the second book with a throwaway line that the events are actually occurring in the 34th millennium. This means that the
Oh.
Pater Mutatis was only beginning to form during the story. 7,000 to 8,000 years have passed since then, which is plenty of time for his mutants to multiply a million times over,
Yeah.
and their collective
Oh,
worship
shit.
to strengthen
So
them
he'd
as
be
a
way
god.
stronger now than he
The second
was.
thing,
That's a
and
great
this is
detail.
definitely the biggest spoiler for the trilogy, but Bile actually dies near the end of the third
What?
book. Now, he's
Oh.
died a million times before.
I bet he
He's
has a
the
clone
Clone
of
War.
himself.
Every time he dies, he transfers
Roger.
his consciousness into another one of his clones, and he just
Yep.
keeps
There you
on
go.
going.
See.
But this time it doesn't happen. This
Oh.
time he dies for real.
Oh,
And
shit.
this occurs because he chooses to sacrifice himself in a pact with Fulgrim and presumably the Chaos Gods to ensure his children's safety over the coming millennia. Now,
Okay.
granted, he doesn't
W
stay
dead.
dead. He gets
Yeah.
dead.
W
In
dead.
the epilogue, we learn that he resurrected himself thousands of years later in the modern setting, shortly after the fall of Cadia and the formation of the Great
Cadia.
Rift. So
I think I heard
this
about
now
this,
leaves a
actually.
universe with dozens of Bile
Oh,
clones, which
Cadia.
had remained active
that
while
was
he was
crazy.
dead, and two
For
quote,
Cadia.
real Biles.
That was a
Number
fire-
one, the
fire
resurrected
fight.
original, who is linked to all of his clones and can experience what they experience. And two, the Pater Mutatis, the lesser chaos god tied to mutation and formless change formed by Bile's worship. Now, whether this deity was formed from
They're
Bile's soul
huge.
after
I
he
know.
sacrificed himself for his children, or its birth just came about naturally from so many people worshipping it, it's a mystery that's yet to be explained. Souls in 40k are weird enough as it is, but we're talking about the dude with probably the most fractured soul of all time, as he's cloned himself hundreds of times over, died and transferred his consciousness just as many times, and had at least one true death and resurrection. So who can really say what's going on with his spiritual essence? And personally,
Yeah.
this is the way I like to explain it. The Pater Mutatis is Bile, but Bile is not the Pater Mutatis. One was
Ooh.
formed from the other, but the other one still exists, and thus they're two separate entities. There's still a
Mm.
lot we could discuss about Bile and the Pater
So he
Mutatis.
is and is
like
not
how,
a
if
chaos
we're being
god.
honest, Bile's path through life
Mhm.
mirrors the Emperor's in way too many uncomfortable ways. Or,
Hey, yo.
for example, the whole King of Feathers prophecy from the trilogy, and the possibility that the Harlequins and even the Laughing God himself have been subtly guiding Bile towards his ascension, which, if that's true, then it implies that Chegarak sees his rise as the Pater Mutatis as something vitally important to preventing Ranadandra, the final Chaos victory, and it's a key part of his plan to, quote, play
Jesus.
one final joke on Slanesh. But we don't have time for any of
Play
that, and
one
we'll have to
final
save it for another video.
joke
So,
on
does the
Slanesh.
Pater Mutatis make sense as the deity of formless distortion?
Potato
That's the big
patatas.
question. And more importantly,
Potato
does it satisfy
patatas.
all of the criteria that we set up in the beginning of the video? The Pater Mutatis is generally understood to be a god of mutants and mutation, derived from Bile's millennia of cloning and flesh crafting. The domain of formless distortion is described as a realm of metamorphosis, inhabited by demons that appear as, quote, roiling agglomerations of immaterial flesh and bone. In my opinion, a chaos god focused on mutation fits this domain extremely well, based on the description alone. And that alignment becomes even stronger when we examine the relationship between this domain and its rival, Vashtor and Malevolent Artifice. Both entities are focused on creation, but as diametrically opposed forces, they approach creation in completely different ways. Artifice concerns itself with machines, constructs, and demon engines, whereas Distortion is rooted in mutation, flesh crafting, and organic transformation. Vashtor is ruthless and amoral, often showing an almost total absence of emotion when bargaining with other demons. The Pater Mutatis, by
I like
contrast,
him.
is more emotional in origin, as it's
I think
born
he's
from
cool
a
as
father's
a villain.
instinct to give shape
Yeah,
and
totally.
life to the formless. As a
think
mortal,
he's
very
Bile
unique.
shows
Is
deep
neat.
affection
So
for his
he's more-
creations and utter contempt.
More of the, I wouldn't say good, but like
Good.
Well, there's not really
Is that
anything
it?
good in 40k.
no,
Yeah,
well, no, it's not
everything
good, but he's
good.
more of a. What's the word I'm looking
Less
for?
ruthless.
He's more of a
Less
father.
ruthless, a father figure, or that was another word I'm looking for,
I mean, bro's trying to wipe out humanity, bro.
Good.
but not killing them.
Well, no, he's waiting, I guess.
What'd you
but
say?
I said good.
Good.
Yeah.
Wild.
Gotta hit with the plagues.
Bro thinks he could do better, right? So he.
So,
Yeah,
they,
but
so
he's
he
just
made
waiting them
Goatman.
out. But he's not like
Isn't he
Actively
technically human,
trying.
though?
He is.
Huh?
He was.
He's technically a
He's
human.
technically human.
he's technically
Human
human.
on a different level.
And clones of human. Of his
He's a
original
superior.
form.
He's a human in the same way that Space Marines are human.
Yeah.
Eh,
It's a superior human.
that's true.
For his enemies, even going so far as to take on the role of a messiah figure that sacrificed himself
He is
to
the
protect
Messiah.
his children.
That's true.
Machines are mathematically precise. Mutation is chaotic, visceral, and unpredictable. The contrast is honestly kind of perfect. I'm also not surprised that the Pater Mutatis appears on the side of the star opposite Slanesh, considering that Bile famously denies Slanesh's existence
Oh.
and despises
Denies
Fulgrim and the
Slanesh's
Emperor's
existence.
children almost as much as they despise him. What's more
Jesus.
peculiar
That's-
is his
that's
placement
hilarious.
between Khorne and Nurgle
Bro's
as
a
an
hater.
allied force. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the parallels between these three. But for me, a few things stand out immediately. First, his deep love for his
That boy.
creations aligns closely with
It's
Nurgle,
that
making
boy.
the father and
Oh,
the
Lord, he
grandfather
coming.
natural allies. As for Khorne, the alignment seems to come not from temperament, but from the Pater Mutatis' focus on organic forms. Khorne despises sorcery and artificial constructs created through profane manipulation of arcane power sources. Mutants may be ugly, but at least they're honest and their strength is natural. Unfortunately, as of the time of this recording, the Pater Mutatis is an entity that we have not actually seen in any meaningful capacity. In the Bile trilogy,
I wanna
it's
read
only
about
referenced
him.
a handful
Yeah.
of times, and we have no
That's
recorded
the Games
interactions
Workshop.
between
Created
him
an amazing
and
villain and then never
the
used
closest
him.
proxy that we have for this is Fabius Bile's rivalry with Belisarius Cawl, as demonstrated in the novel
Yeah.
Father. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
I love
this
that
stands in
guy.
as a pretty good proxy for the relationship between Vastor and the Pater Mutatis and their associated domains. Okay, we've talked about the Pater Mutatis and Bile for long
I
enough.
know.
Let's shift our focus now to the north-south points on the diagram from before,
Okay.
and we'll start
Okay.
with Ravenous Dissolution and everybody's favorite canon, not canon, but secretly still canon, patron god of edgelords and ska fans,
Okay.
Malice.
Malice? Who's Malice?
Such is the hatred that swirls within the warp that it encompasses all things, and like the dragon of eternity that feasts upon its own tail, this hatred extends even to itself. To expect rational, insane logic from creatures such as these would be foolish, for chaos was both its
Okay.
aim and its nature.
I'm digging
And
the
in
vibe
its
already,
self-destructive
honestly.
Hatred, there was
So it hates itself as
Yeah.
much as it hates others.
It hates everything, I guess.
I hate you. And I hate myself.
Therefore
no
you shall
ally to be
die.
found, only a new and more unpredictable foe. Whereas the four major ruinous powers all have
Sheesh!
Why was I
Every
really-
time.
Every time.
Okay, that art, I will give you that.
That's
But
right.
all the other ones
That's
are
right, I'm
like,
not crazy.
because that is a face. But all the other ones is not a
That's a
face.
face.
No. I'm.
Once a follower Shanash, you have to sheesh everything. with
Yeah,
Shanash.
exactly. Cody
Yeah.
understands.
He has to, or else he dies.
Yeah.
Cody understands. Y'all ain't ready for that yet, but your kids are gonna love
Malice
it.
stands apart. He's traditionally
I
Is
mean,
that him?
I mean,
Brother's big as a god. Good lord.
I
It
mean.
may not be him.
I,
Chill out with that.
Hang on a minute.
Horns.
Hang on a minute. Let's back up a minute.
About horns.
I get it.
Okay.
described as the lesser chaos deity of anarchy, terror, mutual ruin, and chaos's own self-destructive, inward-turning nature. He's often called the outcast god or the renegade god, and he represents chaos's
That's funny.
That's
Bro's cool like that.
Oh
Like,
my Bro's cool like that.
compulsion to
Oh,
tear itself
shit.
apart. His hatred for
Oh,
his enemies
God.
is matched
That's
only
good.
by his hatred for his supposed allies.
Oh my
Naturally,
God.
Malice has no friends.
Oh,
amongst the
I like that
people,
armor.
and those
Oh,
that
nice.
follow in
I like
his
that armor a
teachings
lot.
seldom live long. Those who choose
That's
to follow
fire.
Malice,
It
most
really is.
notably the Sons of Malice, Chaos
Sons of
Space Marine
Malice.
War
The
They
Sons
just
of
have
Malice.
white
or by
half
fellow
Sheesh.
servants of darkness just as
That's
often,
fire.
if not
Dude,
more
Sons of
often,
Malice,
than they
Chaos.
go
That's
to war
fire. We gotta
against the
write that down.
Imperium.
We gotta watch a
They
video on
believe
that.
true strength
Damn.
comes only
That's
from
cool.
standing alone. If you want a more in-depth
Those gums
look
on
at
his head.
Malice, his sons,
Based.
and his very strange in and out of universe history, including the classic copyright entanglements between Games Workshop and the god's original creator, I made a full video diving into his lore that you should definitely check out.
Oh, absolutely.
But for
Okay.
the purposes of this video, because I know somebody's going to say something about it in the comment section, I'll quickly restate something that's important and often gets misunderstood. Malice is the spiritual successor
Look
to
at his
the
tail.
Warhammer fantasy chaos god Malal. Malal has never been canon in 40k, ever.
Oh.
But Malice
Okay.
is and has always been. He's the best kind of distinct, legally distinct. It's just that
Okay.
him and his followers simply
Yeah.
receive a lot less attention
Nice.
from Games Workshop and the novels
Nice.
than many other warbands.
Classic.
Fear not, Malice
Copyright.
fans. I just finished the new Night Lords novel, The Revenant Blade, last night, and the Sons of Malice got a 2-sentence cameo in that book. As is tradition,
Wow.
it was an offhand comment
2-sentence
with no
cameo.
impact
It
on
was
the plot
there.
whatsoever. But hey, Games Workshop
They
has
are-
officially
they are
reminded
loved.
us that they still exist. And based on their track record, we can all look forward to them getting another offhanded mention sometime around the year 2035.
Ah,
Another
Regardless of how
offhanded
much or how
mention.
little
We'll show them
Malice receives,
attention,
his
guys.
canonicity has never been in doubt. The real debate has always centered on his power level. The lore describes him as a god, but is he a lesser deity, a powerful greater demon, a demigod,
looks sick,
or
though.
a fully fledged fifth chaos god
Bro's a
lurking at
cosplayer.
the edges of the pantheon?
He's a
As
cosplayer.
humans, we don't truly know. But as far as the domain of ravenous dissolution is concerned, there's no entity, canon or implied, that fits this description better than Malice. Honestly, aside from Vastor, I think this is the most on-the-nose pairing in the entire diagram. To better understand Malice's placement, though, we need to know about his rival in the last etheric domain. So let's talk about them first real quick, and then we'll circle back around
Encroaching
to our
ruin.
criteria checklist.
Oh.
Encroaching ruin.
Chaos in its purest form is a terror that few can stand before and remain sane. It hungers only for destruction, that all things mortal meet their predestined end and crumble into dust to be forgotten. To this singular end, it moves inexorably, driven by a nightmarish purpose which subsumes the petty divisions of demonkind. Whereas Vastor openly declares his intention to become a chaos god, and the Pater Mutatus and Malice are both powerful warp entities who clearly align with their respective etheric domains, the final god we're going to discuss is the closest Warhammer 40k has ever come to introducing a bona fide fifth chaos god in the world.
Okay.
And, of course, the Dark King.
Oh,
The
shit.
Dark
Oh,
King is the
okay. I
prophesized
know what this
power of
is.
the Warp, who represents destruction taken to its absolute purposeless extreme. Unlike Khorne's bloodshed, Nurgle's entropy, Tzeentch's change, or Slaaneash's excess, the Dark King embodies annihilation for its own sake.
Wow.
A drive to erase, consume, and unmake reality without ideology, pleasure, hatred, or ambition behind it. His coming was foretold by both Eldar and human prophecy, but for millennia, these warnings were dismissed as just
Man's
one
just doing
amongst
it for no
countless
reason.
apocalyptic
Yeah.
visions.
Doing it for the love of the game.
Nothing
Just
suggested
to
he was
do
an
it.
imminent, identifiable threat. That changed
But not
during the
for
closing
exhilaration
stages
at
of
all,
the
just
Siege
to
of
do
Terror,
it.
specifically in the
Man,
End of the
bored.
Death Volume 2 novel, where the prophecy
End of the
becomes
Death.
overtly defined. And the crucial twist, the detail that elevates
No,
the Dark King beyond
not
simply being
Sanguinius.
Chaos God number 5,
No.
we were eventually shown who it
Oh.
was meant to be. During the Emperor and Horus's final confrontation aboard the Vengeful Spirit, the Emperor realized the terrible truth. In a direct contest of warped back power, Horus had the advantage.
dog.
Swollen with the
My
might of
dog.
all four Chaos
I love
gods
that
and
all the
fighting
old
within the
Warhammer
warp's
art
echo
kind of
the
looks.
ship,
It
was
has that kind of
impossible
like
as it is to
biblical style
believe
to
for
it.
Emperor
Yeah.
Sin,
Like it's oil
Horus was
painting.
simply stronger. For
It's
all
really
his
good.
unmatched psychic might,
I guess
the
not
Emperor
biblical,
could
I
not
guess,
defeat his
Renaissance
son as
style.
he
Yeah,
was.
Renaissance
To save
Renaissance
humanity,
style.
the Emperor did the one thing he had always refused to do. He drew in the warp's power fully, drinking from it on a scale that no human psyker had ever matched. As he does this, the Emperor begins to change. The text describes him as becoming a sphere of obsidian darkness, wrapped in lightning, radiating such immense power that nearby custodians are reduced to charred, shambling husks simply by being in its presence. As
We're
this
turning into a
being
black
sweeps
hole.
across the nightmare landscape of the inevitable city,
Sounds about right,
demons,
honestly.
traitorous
Yeah.
Sardi's, and mortal heretics
pretty on
alike
brand.
panic and flee before it. At this moment, the Emperor is no longer merely a man with godlike abilities, he is actively ascending into a chaos power, the very embodiment of the Dark King. What stops his ascension
shit.
into a god is the sudden intervention of a perpetual named Olanius Person, one of the Emperor's oldest friends who he had since had a falling out with. Him and his companion's arrival is so impossibly timed that even the Emperor in his proto-Chaos God state recognizes this as a moment of genuine miraculous chance. In a conversation through one of the custodians that the Emperor is controlling, Olanius appeals to the Emperor's remaining humanity and forces him to confront the price of becoming the very thing he has spent his entire existence opposing. Skimming over a lot of conversation between these two, but eventually the Emperor chooses to abandon the power he has been gathering, shedding the mantle of the Dark King, even though doing so is going to drastically reduce his chances of being able to defeat Horus. But Olanius tells him to have faith. With this act, the prophecy is broken, and the Dark King fails to be born.
That'd be
At least
crazy.
for now,
That would've
we
been-
know
It's
that the birth
crazy.
of the Dark King has only been delayed because of characters like Samus, who is revealed to be a demon prince of and the herald of the Dark
Who is
King.
he?
He implies that the Dark King's birth is inevitable because the warp is treating him as if he already exists.
There's so
It
much
may
I
not
do
have been
not know.
Horus, nor the
Yeah,
Emperor
there's a
who
lot.
ascended, but one day another would rise and usher in the god of encroaching ruin. Now, when it comes to how powerful he is, we never get a precise, quantified breakdown of his abilities, but the End of the Death gives us some hints that are kinda staggering. Some passages imply that his birth would have annihilated humanity entirely, in a catastrophe mirroring what happened to the Eldar during the birth of Slaanesh.
Nah.
But it
That
may have
makes
been
sense.
potentially
Yeah.
even
That makes
worse.
sense.
Other
Create
passages
another chaos
imply
god like that.
the universe itself would be altered at the atomic level, or even obliterated outright. Certain interpretations of the text by some fans go even further, suggesting that the Dark King's birth may not only destroy the physical universe, but the warp as well. This would be a being whose might eclipsed all four ruinous powers combined, leaving nothing material or immaterial capable of resisting him. In this scenario, both reality and unreality would face complete and total ruination after he is born.
Hey, you would achieve one
Jesus.
goal: the annihilation of
That
the
is
god.
crazy though.
It's fucking
Like-
insane.
If he actually did that, everyone would die.
Yeah.
Like I guess
Isn't
that's why
it-
he didn't do
well,
it.
That's not the only thing that's gonna wipe out humanity, though. Isn't it set to like the Golden Throne has a bomb in it that's gonna blow up Earth if the Golden Throne ever shuts down?
Is it?
That's the thing. Yeah,
think,
I think they canonized that in a novel, and then the only people who knew about it disappeared.
Oh.
That's the thing.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So that's why they always sacrifice to make sure it stays on.
There
Yeah.
was a novel they wrote where they basically set up that the Golden Throne's gonna shut down in something like 50 years or 100 years or something like that.
Mm.
It's like I think it's like 100 years, and the only people who figured it out disappeared at the end of the novel.
Damn.
That's crazy.
R.I.B. ticking time bomb.
Wow.
Basically.
There goes Terra.
Now, just as Vastor and the Pater Mutatis exist as opposed gods, so too do the Dark King and Malice. Whereas the Pater Mutatis and Vastor occupy opposite ends of a spectrum of creation, one rooted in mutation and flesh, the other in artifice and machinery, the Dark King and Malice sit on opposing ends of a spectrum of destruction. Malice is a divider, a god who perpetuates an endless cycle of hatred. His domain is unrestrained violence, loathing, and self-devouring chaos, an Ouroboros of anarchic rage. Malice demands a perpetual, infinitely repeating era of conflict. The Dark King, by contrast, is a unifier. Rather than perpetuate Malice's cycle, the Dark King seeks to break it entirely and unite all things in one final act of shared annihilation. Everything it does moves
Oh my
towards
God.
that single catastrophic end, sweeping aside the petty rivalries of demonkind on its march towards absolute obliteration. I'll be honest with you, I'm still kind of mulling over the placement of these two deities on the north-south points of the Chaos Star, so I'd definitely love to hear your take on this in the comments section. From my perspective, the Dark King existing between Khorne and Tzeentch and Malice between Nurgle and Slaanesh has a couple interesting things worth pointing out. Malice's placement makes some intuitive sense, as Nurgle embodies cycles and inevitability, and Slaanesh embodies extremes and excess. Malice, insisting on an eternal, self-consuming cycle of hatred for anyone and everything, including himself, fits neatly between these
It does,
conceptual
yeah.
poles. The
Yeah.
Dark King's placement between Khorne and Tzeentch is either deceptively
That also makes
complex
sense, yeah.
or super simple, and I'm way overthinking it. The most immediate symbolism to me is also one that's kind of straightforward and simple. Khorne and Tzeentch are often portrayed as the Pantheon's most destructive forces, the barbarian and the
Khorne is
sorcerer,
cool.
brute strength and arcane
makes
power.
sense.
Two
I can
titans
see
who
that.
refuse to yield
That
to
makes
one another,
sense.
whose clashes historically end in mutual devastation. The Dark King, whose domain is unification through annihilation, sits
I love that
conceptually
art,
at
by the way. That art is
crossroads of these
fantastic.
forces. But like I said, this is still something I'm thinking through, and I genuinely would love to hear your thoughts on how these alignments might be interpreted. So, what do you think of all this?
I
do you
love
think I
it.
got the gods right, or
I think
are
it's
there other
interesting.
It
deities
is.
slash
Cool.
powerful
There's a
warp
lot that they
entities
can do with
you would
this.
have allotted
Yeah.
to these domains? What do you think about the allies and rivals that we talked about? Does it make sense to put the gods on very specific points on the Chaos Star, or do you think I've read way too much into this
No,
diagram?
I think you did
When
good.
I was making this video,
Yeah.
I really wanted to put the Horned Rat God in Encroaching Ruin.
Horned
as
Rat
his
God?
description lined up pretty perfectly.
Yeah,
and
I
in
think he's
Age
the
of
thing
Sigmar, he's
from-
literally
yeah,
the
Age of
Chaos God
Sigmar.
of Ruination.
Jesus.
Plus, if that was the case,
So he's
then
not- I
it
don't
would
think
mean
it's
that
a
we would
40K
one day
thing.
get 40K Space Skaven, which I'm all about. But at the end of the day, he was from a different franchise, so I thought it was too much of a reach.
Yeah.
I will say though, if Games Workshop did go in
No
that
rats,
direction,
no
and
space
he
rats.
was the Chaos God of Encroaching Ruination, then it would make a lot more sense to put the Dark King in the Primordial Annihilator spot. Because remember, certain interpretations of the text claim that the Dark King would eradicate all of chaos and all of reality. So him being the Primordial Annihilator, I mean, it kind of fits. Also, and this is definitely a little bit of a reach, but I found this particular detail pretty interesting. So we know that Samus is supposed to be a demon prince of the Dark King. He's also supposed to be his herald, and one of his main purposes is to ensure that his god ends up being born. In older editions of the game, Samus has been described as just a demon prince of Chaos Undivided, or sometimes as a corn demon.
Can fix him.
What did you
No,
say? Zeke?
no, you
I
can't.
can fix him.
You can fix him.
No, you can't.
And just because
Look
he
like
needed
what,
to
like
have some
hammer
rules that
and
made
wood or
sense for
something?
how he was being played in the game at
He
the time.
knows.
He's gonna
But in
fix
this
you with a
update, we have a
chainsaw.
new data sheet for him, and it calls him specifically a demon prince of the Primordial Annihilator. So if the novels are telling us he's a demon prince of the Dark King, but the supplement is saying that he's a demon prince of the Primordial Annihilator, I don't know, there might be something there.
Hmm.
Also, as a huge fan of the Warhammer horror line of novels from the Black Library, I
Ooh,
wanted to
what is
find a
that?
way to claim
That
Volgas
sounds
was
sick.
secretly a
Yeah,
god
no, I've
who
never heard about
belonged
those,
to
but that
one of
sounds
these
fire.
domains.
Yeah.
But as it stands, we don't know who or what Volgast is, even if in my own headcanon, he's most likely the chaos god of fear. Until we get a little bit more information about him, I'm not going to make any claim one way or the other. Again, this video was an exercise in using the lore as it is written to make sense of a theory derived from fan speculation. Don't take any of the theories in this video as canon unless in the future Games Workshop decides to expand on this and we get some kind of official confirmation.
Oh, but it's so
As always,
cool.
let me know
Yeah,
what
it
your
is.
thoughts,
It is.
comments,
I
It
want to
makes
treat it
sense.
like
concerns
canon so
down in the
bad.
comment section
Yeah.
below. Big thanks to everyone who supports the work that I do, and I will catch you all in the next
That was a good video,
Thank you.
Hammer.
It
Yeah,
is.
that was
That was a
good.
great video.
That was
great.
That's fantastic.
A lot to think about.
Oh, very. I mean, if you want to, it's not canon, but I really did. I really did enjoy it. I absolutely loved every bit of it. I loved the placings that he put them on
Yeah.
there. It just made
They make
complete sense to me.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of the Black King, or that was what it's called, right? The Dark King.
The
being
Dark
in the
King.
middle of the compass.
That
Yeah.
That's
it
fire.
would make sense.
That's kind of fire.
He'll just destroy everything.
Yeah.
yeah,
I like
on
that.
Earth.
I'm a chaos god.
you are.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
chaos god.
So like what?
What are you the chaos god of?
It's a mesh. Imagine.
Wow. Did you guys have one that was your favorite of the new additions? Not overall.
The Dark King.
I like between Dark King and Bile.
Bile.
Oh, the
Oh,
gene
Flavius Bile.
Mostly because
That's my
he's
favorite.
not like evil. He's just like
No.
creative. He's creative, but he doesn't want to kill his abominations that he doesn't
They're
like.
all evil, dog. All right.
But he's
They're
not
all
like
pretty
he's
bad.
not like sending them to make humanity extinct. He's just waiting it out.
But he has a want to replace humanity. He feels they're just
Better.
like
Yeah.
that he can make better.
Well, it's not I feel like it's not a horrible thing as long as he's not like sending them to.
But bro's
Make
also
extinction
making
faster.
different like kinds of monsters. He's just
Yeah.
making.
He is still a chaos demon. Like,
I mean, he made
Yeah.
Beastman.
doing
I'm
the
good.
chaos stuff.
He made
Yeah.
Beastman.
What do you think a beast man's gonna want to do with you, bro? What do you think? Go out drinking, bro?
Yeah,
Like,
Play checkers.
play checkers.
Yo, Tucker!
no, I definitely like Bile. He was my favorite.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Absolutely. What about you?
The one with the half black armor and white armor.
Oh shit, yeah.
That
What was
was
he called
sick.
again?
I don't know.
Malice.
Malice, right? Yeah, Malice.
Malice is cool, but too bad we can't learn about him since
Okay, but like the first
The
one
copyright.
was also really cool. The one who wanted to become a god
What was his name again?
had
Machine guy.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Between
but he
the
was
one-
really cool too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I
don't
really
like
did like. You did?
I didn't like him.
I like Malice and the Dark King.
Okay. You know what's funny is the Dark King was my least favorite.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Because I guess they're making a dark version of
I just don't like
the Emperor.
that one. There wasn't as much as the rest. Like the other ones had a lot more motive. They had like a lot more reasoning as to why they acted or did
He's
things.
trying to kill Horus.
But all he wanted, right? My
Shit.
man was just like, yeah, he just wanted it. He just wanted it. Complete annihilation. That was it.
No,
That's it.
Well, actually, he didn't completely want it because it was just because if he had that much power, everything would just end up dying. It's not like he willed it. He just gained too much power and he ascended and just nuked everything. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna nuke right now. Let me nuke. He's just like,
Yeah.
I have too much power, and then the power just fucking.
No,
Everybody
it's
just
not.
got fucking wiped. the fuck
I mean,
off.
I think Malice is cooler. I think the others were.
I
way
can
cooler.
fix him.
You
No,
can't fix him,
No,
bro.
you can't.
I can fix Malice.
I get to see the
Fix
scene
chaos.
of the Dark King going
I
hard
can
as shit.
do it. I can do it.
If they animated the scene of the Dark King, that will be crazy.
Yeah.
That
I
being
think that'd
said,
be way better looking than the rest.
the 4 Chaos Gods,
I feel like the
you
dark.
think are like way more powerful, right?
You would think so.
Because they are gods, where
Yeah,
the other
you would
ones
think so.
are from the warp, and one is like a demigod that wants to be a
And
god.
one was Space Marine.
Mm. Yeah, and so I would think that the
Or
ones that are
wasn't it-
already established gods,
Like
granted,
3 were Space Marines.
those gods.
And I think just Bio was. I think the other ones had Space
Bio?
Marines.
Do you?
I think Malice has Space Marines. Like those were the guys in the black and white.
Yeah, because like everybody gets
Yeah.
corrupted.
Malice wasn't the Space Marine.
Yeah, the Space Marines get corrupted into their
They're
faction,
chaos.
Yeah,
and they
Yeah.
take on traits of their god.
they're like minions.
Yeah,
But I think
Yeah.
Bio is a Space Marine.
Yeah.
yeah, he is.
He was the one that was
He was a
one
gene
for the
editor.
the
Dark King.
Dark King. But the Dark King feels like he's more into the middle, into the center.
Yeah.
Because he could annihilate anything.
For
Yeah.
the most part, the 4 chaos gods in general, they don't want like complete annihilation. I
Well,
mean, they're
I think they-
destructive.
I think they want to kill each other and
Yeah.
like, become like a single power.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want to be the main god.
absolutely.
They want to put other ones in submission.
But they don't want
agree with
to.
that.
I don't think they want to.
I don't
make
think
it-
they want the entire universe to just be wiped out. Otherwise, I mean, they
Well-
won't have power.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
Tyrannid's job.
Tyrannid, yeah.
Yeah.
But they just
Do you
hungry, gang.
Do
Chomp,
you
chomp.
think that's
Chomp, chomp.
why?
You ever think Tyrannid should just grow vegetables, bro?
What was it?
Mm, it's
Chrome?
tasty though.
Was it Chrome?
What are you talking about?
The Chaos God, one of the Chaos Gods. Chrome.
Sink
Chrome?
Corn.
corn.
Chrome.
Is that why he sent his army towards the Emperor? So he doesn't ascend?
No, it was just by pure chance that his homie dapped up one of his
Yeah,
stupid
but-
custodians and said,
they
"Hey,
were-
dog, you shouldn't go to the dark side. It's not all about you." Like, all right, I feel that, and then he just
I feel
they left out the power, and then he got stupid stabbed.
But I feel like all the Chaos Gods are trying to go more towards him, like get rid of him before he was able to ascend at all.
Trying to
Because
prevent the Emperor from becoming the Dark King.
Yes, because he literally can.
He would wipe out the whole.
It's so cool, dude.
There would be no more Warhammer.
It's so cool.
And they kind of did succeed.
If he did happen to turn to Dark King and wipe out everybody, what happens to the stupid Necrons? Aren't they like immortal and can't die, and they get resurrected every?
That's a
What-
Can they not? Can they be killed if their tombs break, get destroyed?
Is it?
I think they can, because literally the existence would not exist.
I know, but they were cursed by the old ones.
I thought
to-
they regenerate though in their tombs.
I don't know.
But when those tombs are gone,
That's what I'm saying. Like if their tombs get destroyed, are they just? They
Imagine.
actually.
That's what I think.
imagine he's like, it's like the
I don't
Dark
know
King.
enough
He's
about
like,
Necrons.
The thing
I
is,
want to know more about the Necrons.
Me too.
They're my favorite like Xenos faction.
I need to personally go over everything again. Like, I'll be honest, I've lost so much knowledge, but like I didn't grasp.
A lot of my knowledge is just in the Imperium because that's my favorite.
the Dark King's like, I'm sick of you guys. Done.
The Dark King's like, I'm gonna go to Zeus because Zeus can fix me. Like,
Zeus, you're his friend. Don't go. All right. And then Horus is like, ah!
F Horus.
And now he's on
Fuck
a
that guy.
now he's on a throne with a bomb in it that we don't know about.
I have no clue.
Damn.
Do you think so? Do you think the Dark King is an incomplete god right now?
No,
Yeah.
no, the Dark King is not gonna happen because my man's crippled in the chair.
But he's still
Yeah.
like in.
What's on?
Basically, his psyche is still in the warp, keeping them at bay.
The thing is, like, he is.
I don't think his psyche's in the warp. I think his really is.
Because
He's
every
keeping the
time,
warp open.
they kill as many as they can to give that. The,
Bunch of psychers are killed like every day.
yeah, but
Now-
they're
now
killed
every
every day to feed the energy towards the corpse, and his corpse sends it to like through his psyche
So,
into the warp.
yeah,
so they
so-
can get safe passage.
Yeah, so their ships could go to the war.
What?
It
Isn't there a
keeps,
thing
keeps
that-
the Astronomicon open, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing where like, if he just stopped being there, like, it wasn't. I'm sorry.
If
If they stop sacrificing,
He might-
if
he might go
just
away.
left
he
the
would
throne.
just die and then he would regenerate.
He would read. Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah, they
I
okay.
think they have said that, yeah.
Yeah,
But
they said
nobody
that.
knows how long it would take.
Yeah, and plus, not to mention, with that period of
They
time
would-
when he is gone,
They lose
cannot
access to the warp.
fast travel.
Yeah, they lose access to the warp. So then all these planets that rely on supplies and food and stuff from off-world can't get that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it starts another dark age.
Plus, anyways,
Who
he
cares?
never wanted to be considered a god in the first
You're right.
place.
And somehow
And
he
then
ended up-
eventually everybody just turned to him and looked to
Oh,
him
the
as
God
a
Emperor.
god
Yeah.
emperor. And I bet you everybody just don't realize that if he dies, he will regen and spawn again.
Also, if he dies, the Golden Throne explodes and it blows up Terra.
Yeah, which no one knows because they disappeared, by the way.
My God.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. We need to like make a series or something where like I want to read the books. Maybe we discuss them.
Have you seen how many fucking...
I've seen
There-
them.
I don't know what the books are. I'm interested. The one you just said, the
Read
horror,
select-
the horror story
I-
ones.
Mhm.
That's
I
just
want to
cool.
check that
Those could be
out.
cool, yeah.
Or the Bio
love-
trilogy.
I love
Wild
all
that
those
we could do
side
that, yeah.
stories, man. All those side stories about it, like God.
Hey, what do you guys?
Captain Bob.
Hey, what do you guys think about listening to audiobooks and like reacting to that?
I hate audiobooks.
No,
I can't...
You gonna read it to
focus on
me?
I
audiobooks.
need to read.
You gonna read
Yeah,
it to
I need
me?
to read.
Dude, do we
Yeah.
want like a segment where I read select stories in the book?
Story time.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be cool.
That'd
Little
be sick.
battles that happen spread out.
We
through
cosplay as the guards.
Oh my
Cosplay
God.
God.
as the god.
We got
We
I-
cosplay as the book theme.
literally, you
I'd
guys
love to be
open
I'd love to
the
cosplay
door.
a Kriegsman.
Yeah.
And I'm like a full on armor. Like.
A man spent $5,000 just on the headpiece.
Nah, I'm about to get a green robe and a green hat. I'm a
Green robe,
guardsman,
green
guys.
Okay. Well,
My guy's gonna dress up as Slanesh.
Yeah.
Lily. Hey,
I'll look.
say the outro.
Shoot.
Alright, that's it.
Okay.
Stay cranky.
No way.
No.
Okay.
Like
Thank
this
you
video,
all.
subscribe. Thank
Right.
you. Have fun. Stay cranky.
That's right.
Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if there's any other videos you'd like us to react to, any other Warhammer videos, SCP videos, whether or not you want us to check out these books. I'm super excited about that. We hope you are too. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and
Stay cranky.
stay cranky.